Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. This is James. I got Will with me. What's up, Will?
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Will, just out here chilling, hanging with James. Getting ready to get into another video with more dead stuff. What's up, James?
Same old here. Just talking about some more Walking Dead, like you said. It's kind of like the Walking Dead setting, the apocalypse. It's different. There's a lot of movies and books and different things that portray it in different ways. The fast ones, I would hate to be in that apocalypse. But if I woke up like Rick did, either it's day 1 or day 30 or day 60, whatever, and I walk outside and it's a zombie apocalypse like The Walking Dead. Well, if I'm living in Nashville, I have a little country place, and that's a whole different scenario of what I would do. But if I was living in Nashville, I'd probably try to get the hell out of there and get to the country place, because the city's probably not the best place to be. What about you?
I mean, if I woke up like Rick, I don't know. I'd probably start trying to figure it out, or like you said, find somewhere where there's not a lot of people. I don't think staying in a city is something I would do. I guess if I was if it happened right now, yeah, first thing I would do is probably go to the desert somewhere here in Texas. You know what I mean? Or there's a lot of country, a lot of ranch land out here. So I do that probably.
Yeah, you'd have to think about supplies and self-defense, those types of items, and medicine. There's so many little things that we take for granted a lot of times in real life. The zombies, that's one thing, but just surviving in a crazy world where everybody's just going crazy because of the zombies. And if you have a family or not, like I don't have family in Nashville, it was just me living up there. I could get the heck out of Dodge pretty easy, I would think. But if I had family, and especially if they were scattered out, that makes it much more difficult.
And I didn't take into effect the family part. I have kids and stuff like that. And, um, now thinking about it, where I live here in Texas, I'm in Central Texas, right in the smack dab of everything. There's Dallas, there's Austin. Like you just said, like self-defense made me kind of think right now. I was like, man, you know what? I'd probably bug in because all my supplies are here.
Right,
You
right.
know,
It's really situational. It depends on what the situation is. But yeah, you got a good point too. Bugging in may be an option, or a better option, or at least in the beginning.
yeah. And I already do a little prepping right now as it is. I'm currently trying to get out onto some land. As a matter of fact, we're going to start a homestead pretty soon. So, yeah, I've thought about all kinds of doomsday scenarios, watch for the doomsday preppers and stuff like that. And one thing that made sense was bugging in,
Mhm.
especially if you have neighbors or um, family or like-minded friends that also participate in like the prepping thing, you could probably band together,
Yeah,
form a little group, kind of like they did in the show,
yeah.
and not have to go nowhere. Here in Texas, everybody's kind of friendly, and there's a lot of guns. Everybody got guns. I think the guns have guns. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's so different than the show. I mean, you could trip over ammunition. It's like they went 4 seasons and just like, I can't find any ammo. I mean, you could literally trip over ammunition in the South, I think.
Yeah, and I do think that too here, especially. I think there's people who pray every day. They pray for the apocalypse to come just so they can see if they got it.
Yeah, yeah. I know the type. I know the type. There's so many different, situations. It's like, is just your area affected, or is it the world, or America, or is it just this city or that city, And so, like The Walking Dead, it was suddenly, for whatever reason, never really explained, the whole world is infected, and not infected if you get bit, infected. When you die, you're going to turn. So that does throw a monkey wrench in, the whole trying to survive stuff. You say, you like we were just talking about, even if you got family and say friends, neighbors, in a big group, and you were able to get in a fenced in area and, like a Woodbury kind of thing, you still have to worry about somebody dying in the middle of the night, at your camp or in your house or wherever you are.
Yeah. And I wonder though, I wonder how long it took for them outside of Rick's group to realize that you turn regardless, or, just grasp that whole concept of you really got to, watch your back with the living as well as the dead. So, I mean, I wonder, like, that's something I always wondered too, is how long before everybody knew that it was automatic?
Yeah. It seems like in the comic, it happened different, but in the show, they didn't learn until Rick tells them, and Rick learned from Dr. Jenner. So the show made a little bit of sense as far as Dr. Jenner would know that. But it seems like if it's been 30 to 60 days, there's always this crazy timeline. He supposedly woke up 59 days in or whatever. Well, you would think that's a lot of time. Surely the other people would know, even if it's somebody else told them, because you'd think, yeah, the headshot thing and that we're all infected, even if you die with a heart attack, you're going to come back as a zombie. It just seems like that news would be more prominent sooner.
Well, I mean, I guess kind of if we use like fear, for example, as a something to look at since they just, started in the early days, how long did it take them to realize that?
Yeah, definitely the first season, I would think, because even in the first few episodes, like the Clark's neighbor, she turned and she just died. They should have known she wasn't bitten. So, little things like that. It depends on the situation, I guess. If no one, a group, say, never came across someone that died and stuck around long enough to see if they'd come back, or lost a loved one and sat there and mourned over them for a day, and then suddenly they, like Amy, when Andrea, but Amy was bitten. That's the whole, that's the whole thing. But, if somebody mourns over a dead person, kind of like Andrea did Amy, long enough, even if they died from a heart attack. So I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I guess thinking about it now, I guess, I don't even think they really had time to process dying without, or, if they did see it, they didn't know what they were looking like, what was happening. Like they didn't know that this person, like, you get what I mean? Because I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know shit. Like the first 60 days, I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it just depends. If you're in a city for 60 days and in amongst it, or maybe you were a doctor or a soldier or something in the early days, you would have figured it out a little bit faster, but it just depends. It's very situational. I think like what we're talking about depends on, no matter where you are in the universe, what would you do in that situation? And so that's what I loved about the show, especially the early seasons. I would just sit there every Sunday and go, man, what would I do if that happened to me? Or I was put in that situation, like, would I let so-and-so die, or would I be brutal and have to kill that dude to survive or to protect my family?
Yeah. I mean, and I could fully share that frustration because, like, like you're sitting there and you're watching, like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? Go, like, get out of there. Like, you know what I mean? So I definitely have spent my fair share of nights sitting there thinking, what would I do? And it's just all kinds of things. Like, I wonder how fast information traveled. Because, I mean, I kind of feel like the creator, the creators of the comic never expected it to go to a TV show. I mean, if they've said that, let me know if I'm wrong. Hey, I stand corrected, but I can't remember them saying it. That they've envisioned it as they were writing the first episodes of the comic book, they would turn into a TV show.
No, yeah,
And
that
then,
came later.
And then I had seen some other stuff where they didn't know if they were gonna get past the first season of the show, you know? And so I kind of feel like there was a bunch of just stuff happening, and then that's how they came in and tried to tie up all those ends. But I just wonder, like, how fast information would spread.
in
You know, how fast?
in the apocalypse situation.
Yeah, yeah, like how fast would information spread? How long do you think it would take before you started seeing the Woodbury's and the Alexandrias and the Terminuses and just all these groups or communities just you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it would take, if it was that exact situation where society itself fell, like the gas would quit working, the electric would quit working, and the store down the corner ain't open anymore because everybody's dead and it's been looted, I think it would happen once that happened, once, electricity went off, once people started, supplies started getting low and stuff, people would start coming together. And in that situation, it may happen fairly quickly.
Yeah.
But it's that disbelief of, is this real and are we going to get saved? Shane thought that in the show, and he really thought that in the comic. In the comic, Shane didn't want to leave Corey Count because he's like, well, if we go farther out in the country, the army or the government won't find us when they come and save everybody. But of course, there was no one coming to save them. So that's the big main point. If we see that there's nobody coming and saving us, everybody's going to be forming groups.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely see that, but I think that kind of mindset is what would get a lot of people killed early on. Thinking and holding out for the government, I think is always going to get a lot of people killed. Because then again, you're not thinking, you're still kind of thinking in like societal terms. Like it's not right to kill somebody. It's not right to fight somebody. Like, you know what I mean? Because I mean, think about it. How many people are grown and never had a fight? How many people don't think about self defense or, you know, any of that or take any type of training, whether it's martial arts, boxing, anything, wrestling?
Yeah. And even gun training, because it's not easy. I mean, if you've never really shot a pistol, it's not easy to just pick one up and hit a target.
Yeah. But then again, you got to think about it. If somebody's 6 foot, you got 6 feet of target. So if you can't hit the broadside of a bone,
yeah, but it depends on, I mean, if it's a 6-foot dude, cool. I'll hit him in the leg and the chest and the heart, maybe. But if it's a zombie and you have to hit that head is always about the size of a watermelon or smaller.
Yeah. So I just wonder. There's so many switched out so many scenarios, like COVID, for example. What if COVID was like more like sickening than what it was? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then what?
Hey, it still could happen. Something bad could happen. And, in the book World War Z, it started in China, like everything seems to start in China, even the Walking Dead thing. But the big thing was in the book that China covered it up for a long time. And then America found out and they covered it up for a long time. And other countries covered it up. So that's the thing about another COVID, like, will it be covered up before we find out about it? Or, how will it play out if something like that happens again?
Well, I mean, the reason I brought that, up because, that's something that, we've seen how that, progressed all over the world, how quick it spread all over the world. So, I mean, if we use that as a measuring stick, I mean, we'll know pretty soon.
Yeah. We're just too mobile of a world, society these days. And And, that's an origin. Like we're talking zombie apocalypse, and a COVID thing would be a different type of potential apocalypse. But going back to even the zombie thing, say, look at the
Mm.
outbreak at the prison that happened. So if you get far enough along into it, even if it's a zombie apocalypse, you may have an outbreak like at the prison and not have the right medicine, so you start getting into, oh, it's a whole lot different when you can't just run to the doctor or the Med Plus or whatever.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying. Like, I mean, how many people would stay with their loved one if they were sick? You know what I'm saying? Like, how many people would stay there and comfort their children if their children were sick? Like, could you picture, leaving a child or a mother or a father in another room and watch them die so you don't get sick? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, like, how many people I think a lot of people would be gone in like the first 6 months
Yeah, yeah,
of any situation
yeah,
because I mean, we didn't know that, like in the show, they didn't know that before they died, they were already infected. And like you said, people sit there and they mourn their family member. How many people mourned over their dead family member? And then they woke up and ate one of their faces off.
oh yeah. I think they've said that a couple times in the show that happened.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's going to be a lot of casualties straight off the bat. I mean, um, how many people, like, we saw the web episodes, the plane goes down, all those
Mhm.
bodies, how many planes are in the sky at one given time?
A bunch.
It's just mind blowing to think about it. What would
Yeah,
I do?
yeah,
What, what you would do could get you killed, if something happened next week and all these things that I got planned. I mean, I could be in, like I'm finna go to Alaska right now, you know, I could be way in Alaska. My family's over here. All my preps are here, my ammo, my guns, or whatever supplies I have or had or whatever. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah. It makes a big difference. That's what they talk about a lot. I've done a couple videos on um these silos old missile silos and bunkers that they've turned into places that the rich people buy. It's real elaborate and nice, in case something happens, if the shit hits the fan, kind of thing. And that's the trouble with those is, well, what if you're on vacation in Cancun or in Europe or something and your bunker is in South Dakota or wherever, Arizona? How, are you going to be able to get to it? If the bombs are falling or whatever, if there's a disease out there.
I think I had one of those bunkers because I just seen a video too about these people that I mean bunkers are popping up all over the place now,
Yeah,
believe it or not, and
it's
they're
popular.
cheaper and cheaper. Yeah, I have these ones somewhere, I don't know, it's the old thing, and they live there. People like they live there in their bunkers.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Some people are just like really worried.
I mean, it's just crazy to think I mean, like Mike Tyson said, everybody got to plan to get punched in the face.
That's right. And I don't know if you call it a joy or not so much a joy of living in Nashville, and I know of living in the country. I got a little place in the country and stuff. That's where I'm staying now, and so I know what it's like to be out in the middle of nowhere versus the city, and if something happens. And the city, there's a altogether different scenario as far as survival in any kind of way, whether, something like COVID happened or, of course, if it was a zombie apocalypse or something like that, or even nuclear, it's just the city to me can or probably will be a more dangerous place. But then if you're not prepared out in the country, like my place in the country, I have to drive 30 minutes to the store. So that means an hour round trip if I forgot to pick up the milk or something, so it's a long way. So if I don't have stuff, already here, at least in the city, you might can get with some other people or might can, find some supplies. But in the country, you're kind of stuck if you don't have anything. Of course, you can hunt, fish, things like that.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly though, recent events is kind of really, some years and years ago, recent is what kind of what kicked me into prepping, trying to kind of prep a little bit. Now, I'm not no doomsday prepper. I don't have a bunker or nothing, but sometimes if I think about it, if I'm at the store, I might grab a extra of this or a extra couple of that and just, put it up. But The Walking Dead is kind of what got me interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And honestly, if it was a nuclear situation, I don't even have a plan for it.
Oh yeah. Who really does? I mean, who really does?
Because if you have a bunker, how long? You might could live 20 years. That's it. You know? You'll never go outside. I mean, 20 years,
Yeah,
probably.
maybe. That's a lot of supplies for 20 years. I mean, that takes a lot of supplies.
I mean, bro, I personally know a couple people that could probably survive for 25 years, maybe 23. I think would it have been? Yeah, it's something like that. I'm not gonna go too much into detail, but
Yeah,
it was
they're ready.
there's people out there.
Yeah, I think as far as preparedness, that's something I use a lot in my videos and on the channel when I have done survival videos and stuff. Preparedness is the key. Like, as something as simple as, hey, I got to run the store. Well, do you have a spare tire in case you have a flat? If you don't, then you're not prepared. Little things like that. So if you get into the survival frame of mind and thinking like that, it's highly unlikely we'll have a worldwide nuclear war. Let's hope, knock on wood, whatever, if you're superstitious. It's very unlikely, like really impossible for a zombie apocalypse. But something like we were talking like COVID or something, some stronger, something like that is possible. So as you think about preparedness and stuff, bring it back down to even a smaller level. Like there's snowstorms and stuff. What if snowstorm came in and knocked out the power and you couldn't get out on the road because the roads were messed up for 2 weeks? Do you have stuff to survive? Or just a big storm, electrical windstorm comes through and your power's out for 3 days. I know people that couldn't last 3 days, and sometimes I can't because I just hum haul around and don't go to the grocery store or something, So I think I'm prepared most of the time, but not all of the time.
Well, see, like I said, I know one thing about being unprepared in a snowstorm that knocks the power out. I mean, if you're from Texas and you're listening, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Snow apocalypse. 4 days. 4 days of the most coldest temperatures I've ever experienced. Some of the most coldest rain, and just the way it all happened was like I don't think you could have scripted it like that. We have a grocery store here in Texas. It's called HEB. Here, when it sleets, they close the schools. If it sleets too bad, or if there's just a little bit of ice on the ground, nobody's going to school that day. And if we'll know it's coming ahead of time. 2 days before that one day of weather gets here, every HEB in the city's empty.
Oh yeah.
True story. I mean, 2 days, if they say it's going to rain and get down below 20 degrees, I guarantee you, everybody in the state of Texas, like, central, maybe, above Austin and up, we're all watching the weather all night, looking to see if the schools are closed.
Yeah. And then they're packing their pantries.
Yeah, everything's gone for 2 days. 2 days of bad weather. It'll be 70 degrees today, 20 degrees and raining for the next 2 days, 90 degrees the next day.
Yeah, yeah,
And sometimes,
that's the South for you.
so yeah, I mean, and I definitely, like I said, I learned from that. I learned from the COVID situation because I don't know if you went out during that time. Um, Again, the stores were empty. I
Yeah.
think in the meat section, there was one pack of chicken.
Yeah, man, it was crazy, crazy days back then. And
And the store,
go ahead.
oh, well, I was just gonna say, like, the stores were full. Everybody's buying up everything. And, I took my aunt, she wanted to go get a case of water. And I took my aunt to the store, told her, I was like, you know, the only reason everybody in here ain't killing each other for this stuff is because they know more is coming tomorrow. No, a truck's gonna come tomorrow. A truck's gonna come tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we're good. And I don't know. I guess that kind of opened my eyes. Like, dang, I wonder what happens if no trucks come.
Yeah. Yeah, I think here the truck they said the truck was coming and I went back and they said, well, there was only like 2 pallets of stuff on the truck and it was already sold by the time I got there.
Like, and that's what I said. Like, now I'm more geared towards the homestead. Going toward, towards more natural foods, more self sustainability. So that way, if something does happen, I kind of would have at least a head start.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And it's like I've had the place in the country for a while, and even when I lived in Nashville, I rented in Nashville. So I didn't have my guns. I didn't have I have a generator. I have everything. I mean, the place in the country is stocked as far as I could make it as, country boy type stuff. I got a generator and a tractor and, chainsaw and, all guns and all those types of things you'd need. But if I was in Nashville, I wouldn't have it. So again, it goes back to situation and location and what is exactly happening as far as what's going on in the world. But it's definitely something to think about. And I even keep, like I say, think on a smaller level, people like lives in apartments and things like that. Make a bug out bag, and have some like a first aid kit, and those things. But little things, just little things like a snake venom uh, kit, a water purification straw, waterproof matches and stuff, maybe something to start a fire. Those are some basic things that if you had to uh, get out on the run and maybe have to camp out or something along the way, you would really, really, it don't take much room in a backpack or something, those little items.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I kind of, been telling people, in everyday life, hey, if I was you, man, I'd probably put some stuff away, you know, and I kind of wish that somebody would have been telling me that a long time ago. And, I tell people, hey, get to know your neighbors, talk to your neighbors, see who you can, but, talk to them and get to know them before you tell them, well, my house is full of supplies. Come
Yeah.
raid me if you want. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, but, get to know people in the communities and around you and stuff. So that way, if something does happen, the more people can pull resources together quicker, you know, than you can do it on your own.
Yeah.
But then again, hey, every man for themselves too. So I don't know, man. It's kind of like you said, situational. It's everything. It's just you just got to be in it to know what you would do. And hopefully, we never see those days. Hopefully, everything is peaches and cream, and we can live long, happy, healthy life.
Oh yeah, and just talk about it like it's a TV show. It's definitely something to ponder. Like I say, I've done a bunch of videos about it on the channel and um, different ways, saying it different ways, and it's it's something I know. And if everyone was truthful, It's something nobody wants to happen, but it is interesting anyway to discuss it and talk it and ponder about it, and especially watch it in a television show like The Walking Dead. And how it plays out over time. The Walking Dead universe has been going several years as far as in the story, so it's shown us a long time how things kind of played out. And who knows? Who knows if it, you know, how something like that would play out, if there would be one really huge community and a bunch of little bitty ones scattered around. It does seem like that's kind of how it maybe would be.
Yeah, I definitely think people, as whether people want to admit it or not, we're all creatures of community. So it won't take people long to come together and rebuild, and there might be dark days, there might be times where things ain't too bright.
Yeah. And I don't know if we've talked about it before, but I've got a cousin that's into like the Meshtastic or the radio, like ham radio, that all the little radios and people that put up these towers and repeaters and stuff. It's like an amateur type group of people, but there's a pretty big group of people and it's all over the country. So I think something like that would kick in, because most of those systems you can do it even if the grid is down. It's got its own power. There's one system you can even text on. It'll be voice and text, but most of it's just voice, I think. But I think those,
Yeah,
like if everything goes down, and especially if like YouTube goes down, because people are so used to, oh, how do I fix my car? How do I change my light socket or light switch out if I need to? YouTube, just how do I do this? How do I do this? YouTube. Well, what if you can't go to YouTube anymore? People are screwed, man.
yeah. I was definitely thinking about um getting a CD for some reason.
Yeah,
I don't
man.
know. I, I want to get on there and listen and see like what people talk about, because I did get into the ham radio stuff, and there's one where they bounce, like the signal I think bounces off the atmosphere and comes back down. Like it's a worldwide network of, I can't remember all the terms and stuff, so if I'm getting it wrong, please forgive me. But they like you could be here and talk to somebody in Australia.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, when I get around my cousin and he talks about all that stuff, it's like he's talking another language, because he's really into it, and he'll get down to the how many watts and how many repeaters and how many repeaters going north he can go, and it gets pretty crazy. But I think you can get CB is a great idea, but they've got some fairly inexpensive radios that like does a whole bunch of different bands in one, and something like that may be something to look into. And I think that's something, if anybody is thinking about preparedness or being a prepper or anything like that, that the radio system like that off grid is definitely something to look into.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, now's the time to start preparing, learning how to can. That's something I'm trying to learn to do, learning how to can, learn how to prepare food. Um, when I came back from work this off season, I bought a dehydrator. I have a meat slicer, a meat grinder, um, so that way I could, make sausages and links and all kinds of beef jerky. I'm about to buy a freeze dryer.
Oh man, nice. I wish I had a freeze dryer.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen them. They're like $3,000. I'm like the
They're
cheap.
expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, but I found them because these people that I watch, that I keep up with on YouTube, through hikers. Shout out to them. Um, if I'm getting their channel right, but they do the Continental Divide, and that's how they prepare their food. And it's lightweight, and they can carry a lot of it. You know,
Yeah.
so I was like, well, I want one. So I'm gonna get one, So those things, learning how to store items and cure meats and, uh, with the egg prices or whatever's going on with all that, um, buy a chicken, buy two chickens,
Yeah, yeah.
you
Dude,
know,
hey,
it does every day.
it's been a few months ago. Again, we've talked so many different times over the past. I can't remember what we've talked about and not, but I did through the Chat GPT like a scenario of how high egg prices would have to get before it was more cost efficient to buy your own chickens and to keep them and stuff. And I think we just hit that point. And I never thought we would, like $9 or $10 a dozen. And I'm like, holy
Well, I
crap.
mean, well, the thing is, though, I think with the hustle and bustle of everyday life, you don't realize until you realize. And by the time you realize, it's too late, and then
Yeah.
it's like, oh, what happened? It's like, hey, what happened? And well, before it gets to that point for me, start preparing, start learning how to be more self-sufficient to where I got 12 chickens back there, man. I got 30 something eggs that I got this week, or however many, do the math, whatever, however many eggs and chickens laid in a week.
Yeah.
And if you free range them out, it really don't cost you little or nothing to keep them.
Yeah. Yeah. Preparedness, man. And of course, having the room, like I was saying up in Nashville, I rented, it wasn't really a duplex, but it was like somebody that owned a home that made a little apartment on the side kind of thing. And I did live in apartments over the years. I moved around a few different places around Nashville. But a lot of people, there's a lot of apartments. Like, if they have a chance, they build apartment complexes that have several levels instead of a subdivision, because it just makes more sense because there's so many people moving into Nashville. So there's so many, and you don't have the space. They can't have chickens, they can't. That's the whole thing. There's a lot of people that can't really do what the stuff we're talking about, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they just, you could go down so many rabbit holes and, you know, the show kind of gives you like a starting point, something like I think a lot of people kind of use it as a guidebook to the zombie apocalypse, you know, and we all have our fingers crossed that there'll be walking zombies and not the running zombies because I'm kind of hefty, man, and I might could run 3 blocks straight, so I'm done skis. You know what I'm saying? I'm food.
Shit. Shit. I mean, I just did a video for my channel, survival myths in movies, busted. And one of them is you can outrun a bear, and you can't. Of course you can. A bear runs 35 miles an hour and a human can maybe run 15 for just that's top speed. And I mean a minute, and a bear can run 35 miles an hour for several minutes. You just don't have no chance, So it's like, yeah, we don't want the running zombies, even if they're kind of medium running. Because if they don't tire, you know.
It's crazy that you brought up like that bear running from the bear because I have ran from a bear. And I got the hell out of there.
You outrun it?
I mean, but the bear chased me though. No, like the bear was chasing me. We're sitting outside and we're smoking cigarettes. We just got off work and it's like four of us, and we're standing there and all this girl, she's like, oh shit. And that's all I needed to hear. I took off. Wait, I turned to go up the stairs and I turn around and I bullshit you not. There's two bears the size of like Priuses just walking. And this chick, she's like 8 feet from them. She's like 8 feet from them. And they're just walking by her. Just walking. I ain't stick around to stay to see anything.
You didn't save the girl?
I was running. No. The thing is, she's seen him before I did. I didn't even see him before I took off running. So, I think if you put enough stuff between you and that bear, you know, maybe you might got a chance to get away, but I was up on some stairs before I got looks at the bear. So yeah, I'm the person. I'm gonna run. If somebody says "oh shit," or if I see somebody running, running too until we figure out what's going on. Because if you're running from something, it means I need to run from it. You know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I used to do pyrotechnics. That's what I did in Houston. I worked construction out there for a long time, but then I started doing pyrotechnics, and I had a shirt that said, "If you see me running, try to keep up."
yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but it's just like fight or flight. I'm good if something you know, spicy is going on, I'm finna get out of there. I'm not sticking around to figure it out. Everybody else, we can figure it out later. Somebody will get it on camera. Somebody will take a picture. I'll see it later.
Yeah,
If I hear oh shit, I'm running in the opposite direction. That's the
that's
same thing with
I've been in different situations. Probably never chased by a bear. That would be scary. Or I mean, I've been around bears, but not. They were not chasing me, so that's a good thing. But I have thought a lot when you think about stuff like The Walking Dead. I mean, it's a TV show. It's fun to talk about, whatever. But if you really get serious and talk about it, like what would you do in that situation? And you're talking about life and death. I don't really I mean, I can try to put myself there, but I don't really know what that's like, thank goodness. But, like my dad, he was in Vietnam. He knows what it's like. There's a lot of soldiers and cops and people, they know what it's like. But I don't know. I guess when you're in that situation, you might do something different as far as fight or flight and those types of options. So it's hard
that.
to say because when you're really really in that situation.
Yeah, I know. I have a flight. There is no fight. I'm flighting. I'm out of there. Like I I got a Blackstone. We're from man, and we're cooking, and then it's just raining. It's cool. Everything is good. All of a sudden, a storm blows in, and the tornado sirens go off. Man, I dropped everything. Ran for my keys. 'Cause I'm gonna get out of there. I can't. I've never been in a tornado. Let me knock on wood. But I mean, so far I haven't been in a tornado. And there's a lot of tornadoes that happen here. It's all across the South and stuff too.
Yeah.
But my girlfriend, she fought me for the keys. And it's nighttime. I don't care. You're not supposed to run from a tornado at nighttime. Can't help it. I mean, I'm flight all the time. I'll run from a tornado, a bear, a hurricane. I'll run from it all, bro.
Hey, I've always said either two things would happen if the zombie apocalypse ever did happen, as far as what would James do. One, he'd probably scream like a girl and run. Two, he would be eaten fairly quickly and game over.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. And like I said, the show, I mean, we could pick any universe, we could pick um any season or whatever, and there's just we could go what if forever. And I kind of would have liked to have been in maybe Fear the Walking Dead before the news.
Yeah.
You know, I definitely would want to have been in that universe. Or maybe the ones that live.
Yeah. Just depends on which side you're on, I guess. Okay. We'll wrap it up here, but I want to throw a question at you here at the very end. Are you ready?
Ready as can be.
All right. What would you say is or would be or is the most important skill to have in a zombie apocalypse?
Skill. Know how to fight.
Yep. It's a good one.
I mean, because if you can't fight, then none of your other skills matter because you can't use them if you're dead. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. If let's just say your skill's a cook cooking's your skill. You can't fight. You're a cook. Well, I would advise the cook to find a fighter to cook for. You know what I'm saying? The fighter protect the cook, you know?
Kind of like Eugene, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, cooking. Yeah, yeah, that'd be a good one to have.
Yeah. It's a crazy world to think about. I'm just hope it never happens. I know there's a lot of bad places in the world, and a lot of people are probably going through some bad stuff. So I hate to joke about anything like that, and I hope nobody takes it that way. As far as we're just talking about the zombie apocalypse, some Walking Dead stuff, but I do acknowledge that there's probably a lot of people in a lot of bad spots. So thinking about everybody out there in the world as we wrap up this video. And any last words you want to say, Will?
Nah, man, just looking forward to the next one. It's been fun. I'm glad we're getting to do this. I'm glad we're starting to get more comfortable with our, conversation and stuff. And hopefully the content's getting better and, stuff like that. And I want to hear from everybody. Tell us what you want to hear. Let us know what you think. Make fun of us, whatever. I mean, let's talk.
I'm glad we're doing it also. Me and Will, James and Will, talking about The Walking Dead. So like Will said, you guys let us know. Put what you're thinking down in the comments, any old thing at all, and we'll join you there. So this is James, this is Will. Until next time. And as always, stay tuned for more dead stuff.